I'm back again with the next topic that I'm going to discuss is monohybrid cross. In the last video, we had done the difference between alleles and genes. I taught you about the basic difference between the two, and because generally students get confused between these two terms, alleles and genes, so we had cleared that in the previous video. Now in this video I am going to talk about monohybrid cross, a general topic which you had done in class 10 also, but yes, a revision is quite much required here. So as you see, NCERT in front of you, I'll start reading from these lines. If we use alphabetical symbols for each gene, then the capital letter is used for the trait which is expressed at the F1 stage. Now, earlier also when I was teaching you about this, or when I spoke about the F1 generation, I told you that whatever trait is being expressed in the first generation, that is F1 generation, that is considered to be a dominant trait. Okay, and dominant traits are expressed in capital letters. Okay, and small alphabets for the other trait, that is the recessive one. Now for example, they see in case of character of height, capital T is used for tall trait and small t for the dwarf one. Okay, and capital T and small t are the alleles of each other. So this is what monohybrid cross appears to be. See in front of you, monohybrid cross. I have taken parents. Parents are homozygous tall and homozygous dwarf. Why homozygous? Because there are two alleles and both the alleles are capital T. So it is a homozygous tall. And similarly, both the alleles are small t. So it is a homozygous dwarf. So the parents are homozygous tall and homozygous dwarf. Okay. Now, when gametes are formed, see, the gametes are formed, there are segregation or separation of the alleles. So the alleles get separated. So from each parent give two gametes. Each parent is giving two gametes. Okay. So that means gametes are haploid. Here they are diploid, but here the gametes are haploid. Now F1 generation, that is first filial generation, what are we getting? We are getting all heterozygous tall. See, we are getting all one capital T, one small t. So what are we getting? All the plants are tall, but they are not homozygous. Why are they not homozygous? Because one is capital T and the other allele is small t. So though they are tall, but they are heterozygous tall. So what is the phenotypic ratio here? What will be the phenotype? The phenotype is all are tall. Phenotype means the result that we are getting. What is phenotype? The result that we are getting. So what is the phenotype of F1 generation? All will be tall, though all are heterozygous. Now, what Mendel did was he took two of the plants from F1 generation, any two plants from the F1 generation, and he crossed them. See, two plants of F1 generation were done self-pollination, or they were crossed among themselves, and now the gametes that we are getting is one capital T, one allele that is capital T, other allele is small t. Again with the second parent, same thing is happening. See, the gametes are one capital T allele and the other one is small t. Now, when these gametes combine, what the result we are getting is here one capital T, one another capital T. So one of the plant is homozygous tall, but two other plants are heterozygous tall. Okay, and one plant is homozygous dwarf. That means out of four plants, three of them are tall. These three are tall. Okay, and one is dwarf. So what is my result? What is the phenotypic ratio? 3:1. 3 are tall and 1 is dwarf, right? Here in phenotype, we are only bothering about the result. We are not seeing, or we are not pointing to the genes. Okay, I am not bothered whether it is capital T, small t. I am only, what am I looking? I am only looking that what is my end result, and my end result is that I am getting 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. But when I am looking at the genotypic ratio, that means when I am pointing to the genotype, then I will see the genes present in them. So what are the genes? One plant which is tall, it contains both the capital T. So I wrote 1 for that. But two plants, they are also tall, but their genotype is different from this one. The genotype of these two plants is one capital T and one small t. So I wrote 2 for these two plants. And the third one contains only 2 small t's. So I gave 1 for this plant. So my genotypic ratio is 1 homozygous tall, 2 heterozygous tall, and 1 homozygous dwarf. So this is how you will write a monohybrid cross. Okay, children? And here in your NCERT, they are just defining the same things that I have just taught you here. Okay, see, Mendel found that phenotype of F1 heterozygote TT to be exactly like the parent capital T in appearance. He proposed that in pair of dissimilar factor, one dominates and hence is called the dominant factor, while the other factor is recessive. We know this. We have done this here. Okay. Now, what Mendel is saying is the parent is tall because it is having 2 capital T's, and the progeny here is also tall, but it is having 1 capital T and 1 small t. So Mendel is saying that in this plant, if it is tall, then it means that this capital T has expressed itself and this has been suppressed. So the one which has expressed is dominant factor and the other which is not being expressed is recessive. This is what he is explaining in these lines. Okay. Here, children, you see, it is convenient and logical to use capital and lowercase of an alphabet symbol to remember the concept of dominance and recessiveness. Do not use T for tall and D for dwarf. Yes, because if you will do that, there will be a lot of confusion. So better we use capital letter for dominant and small letters for the recessive traits. Okay. I hope I am clear. And here in these lines again he is saying that the capital T small t plant is heterozygous for genes controlling one character, that is height. Now why do we call it a monohybrid cross? Why are we naming this as a monohybrid cross, children? Because we are discussing only one trait here. We are only discussing which trait? The trait is height. So this is a monohybrid cross. We are not bothered about the other traits. Here we are discussing only one trait. So this is a monohybrid cross. Okay.